This is Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate, the podcast where we cover home buying, home selling, home improvement tips and ideas, market trends and developments, and investing in real estate. If you own real estate in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, or want to own real estate here, then you're in the right place. Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate is hosted by Blake Watson, a real estate agent and investor in Tennessee and Georgia.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate. I'm your host, Blake Watson with Epic Realty, and today we are going to be discussing the newest market data for Chattanooga from November of 2025, and we're going to compare it to what we saw last year in November 2024. And there are some big changes happening across the Chattanooga MLS. Some are expected, some surprising. And if you own a home or are thinking about buying or selling in 2026, this is an episode you'll want to listen to all the way through. Let's dive right in. And we'll start with the overall MLS, the multiple listing service. The MLS includes 5 counties. In Tennessee, that includes Hamilton County and Sequatchie County. And then we have 3 counties in Georgia, Dade, Walker, and Catoosa, that are included in this report. There are some outlying homes in other counties in both Tennessee and Georgia, but for the most part, they're all in these 5 counties. For the entire MLS, inventory is still climbing. We had almost 3,800 active listings, which is up 21% from November of last year. This is significant. We're just under 3,800 homes for sale in the Chattanooga MLS, and we haven't had that many homes for sale since 2016. So we are right at the cusp of looking at 10 years since we have had this much inventory available in Chattanooga. Sales, however, have dropped in November 2025. They are down 19% from November of 2024. And let me give you those numbers so you just understand what the difference is as far as sold houses. In 2025, November, we had 636 homes that sold. In November of 24, a year ago, the 1-month snapshot was 785 homes sold. So that's a 19% decline in the number of homes sold. And the average days on market is now sitting at 52 days. Now, prices across the MLS barely moved at all. They're just up about 1%, not even 1%. In 2025, November, our median sales price was $340,000. In November of 2024, it was $337,000. So just $3,000 difference. It's just a little less than 1%. So not a big change there. It's pretty close to flat. So the big picture is this. More homes are on the market, for sure. Fewer buyers are writing offers, and there are longer wait times to get those offers. So if you're listing a house for sale, it's going to take a little bit longer now than it has over the past few years. Now, we are firmly in a cooling market as we head into 2026. Again, that's the entire MLS. But every submarket is behaving differently. So we're going to look at some of the neighborhoods and zip codes specifically and counties, and some of them are dramatically different. So let's look at some of the primary ones. In the city of Chattanooga, now this is not just within the actual city limits, but if you have a mailing address that says Chattanooga, Tennessee, then it's included in this portion of the report for the Chattanooga. Inside Chattanooga, inventory was up 24% and sales dipped about 12%. But even with fewer sales, prices were up a healthy 8% year over year. That's an 8% increase. In 2024, November, it was $340,000. And in 2025, November, $367,750. That's the median sales price. So Chattanooga is cooling like the rest of the MLS because there are fewer sales, but it has stronger pricing power. Obviously, people still want to live close to the city center, and that demand is keeping values up the closer into Chattanooga you get. Days on market jumped, though, from 39 to 49 days. That's from November to November, and that tells us buyers are taking their time And the city market is still performing better, though, than most of the suburbs when it comes to price growth. Now, let's look at some of the neighborhoods in the Chattanooga area, especially ones that have a lot of residential homes. And we're going to take a look first at East Brainerd. Now, this is the zip code 37421. It has a Chattanooga address. That's a Chattanooga zip code. So it's included in that Chattanooga data, but we're going to look specifically at just that zip code for East Brainerd. This one is definitely the wild card of the month as far as zip codes. East Brainerd had the biggest inventory jump. It's up 92% from November of 24 to November of 25. A year ago, in November of 24, we had 147 listings available for sale in the 37421 zip code. This year, in November 25, we had 282 homes for sale, and that is right at a 92% increase in inventory. But here's what's interesting. Despite all that new supply, sales actually increased by 30%, and prices were up more than 13%. So this is really something. In East Brainerd, sales went up by about 30% from November 24 to 25, and then the prices also are up about 13% from 2024 to 25. I'm going to give you those prices for the 37421 zip code, and they are $362,500 a year ago in November. And then November of 25, it's $411,195. That's the median sales price for a home in the East Brainerd zip code. Average days on market is running a little bit higher now in East Brainerd, so it has given us an absorption rate, which is month supply of inventory, and the month supply of inventory is 5.65, which is a little bit high, leaning toward a buyer's market. But of course, there are plenty of buyers. They are active and writing offers. That's why sales are also up 30%. It's just a hot zip code, clearly, 37421. Let me explain that absorption rate a little bit better. It gives us months of supply. And again, as I said, in East Brainerd, that's 5.65 months of supply of inventory. And if you have less than 4 months of inventory, it's considered a seller's market. And once it is between 4 to 6 months of inventory, and that's where it is now, it is considered a balanced market, meaning buyers and sellers are really balanced in their power over each other in a negotiation. And then when you have more than 6 months of inventory, it's considered a buyer's market, meaning that buyers generally have a little more leverage in their negotiation power over a purchase of a home. This data for East Brainerd tells me two things. First, new construction is playing a major role here. That's why we have so much new inventory on the market. And then middle to upper end buyers are still choosing East Brainerd when they want schools, convenience, and newer homes. And that's actually driving the sales increase and the price increase in East Brainerd. This market is expanding fast, maybe faster than it can be absorbed. We will wait and see, and that'll mean we need to watch prices in early 2026 if inventory stays high in East Brainerd. Now, let's move on to a zip code that's entirely outside the Chattanooga city limits, and that is the Ooltewah zip code of 37363. This one is also shifting. Active listings were up almost 19%, but sales dropped 47% year over year. That's a significant sales decline. Just to give you a feel for what that is, in November of 24, in the Ooltewah zip code, 76 homes were sold. In November of 25, just last month, 40 homes were sold. That is a decrease of 47.4%. So it's definitely a drop in sales. Now, the median prices also fell in the Ooltewah zip code, about 5.5% down year over year. So from November 24 to November 25, a price decrease in Ooltewah of 5.5%. That's a meaningful correction. And here's the twist, though. Days on market actually went down, meaning things are moving more quickly, from 54 days last year to 44 days this year. So what does that mean? Well, it likely means we have a two-track market. Homes that are priced correctly are selling quickly, and homes that are priced too high are just sitting. Ottawa certainly is not crashing. There is not a major price correction going on. It's resetting. And those price corrections are giving buyers more confidence to step in. So we continue to see a lot of activity in Ottawa. Now let's look across the river at Hickson. That's 37343. Hickson is an affordable and fast-moving market. Active listings in Hickson are up 55% from November to November, but sales only dipped by one home. It was basically flat. So in 2024, November, we had 50 homes that sold in Hickson. And in November of 2025, we had 49 homes that sold in Hickson. It's virtually flat in Hickson. Prices did fall. They're down about 11% from November to November. But homes are selling quickly. Average days on market is just 33 days. That's moving pretty fast when you look at the overall days on market in the MLS. So Hickson is one of the places where buyers have more choices, sellers are pricing aggressively, and homes are still moving quickly. It's a very healthy middle market environment right now. Now let's take a quick look at our Georgia counties. These are not broken down by zip code, but I just broke them down by county. Catoosa County has been very steady and very reliable. From year to year, there's just a 7% increase in active listings. It went from 244 homes to 261 homes in November. So that's just a 7% increase. The number of properties sold in Catoosa County is down about 17.5% from November to November, and the absorption rate is running just a little over 3.5 months. So the median sales price is virtually flat in Catoosa County. It went from $309,500 in November of 24 to $313,250 in November of 25. I say that's virtually flat. It's 1.21% increase. Days on market is right at 51. And now let's look at Walker County quickly. There were 238 homes for sale last year, and now there are 275 homes. So there's definitely a good sizable increase in inventory in Walker County. Year over year, that's 15.5% increase. The number of homes sold is down. Walker County had a decrease from 62 homes sold in November 24 to 43 homes sold November of 25. That's a 30.5% decrease in homes sold. Absorption rate is 4 months of inventory, so that's running right at a balanced market. And then the median sales price in Walker County is down year over year. Last year, it was $264,550. This year, it's $251,680. That's a 4.86% decrease, almost a 5% decrease in the median sales price in Walker County, Georgia. Average days on market running right at 50 for Walker County. So let's look at the big takeaways. Here's what all this means for buyers and sellers in the Chattanooga area. First off, inventory is up everywhere. We have more inventory, significantly more inventory than we've had in right at a decade. We have to go back to 2016 to have this many properties available for sale in the Chattanooga MLS. So buyers have more choices going into 2026. This is great news if you're a buyer. Second, days on market are rising in most areas, so sellers should prepare for longer marketing times. This will take more time to sell your house. This is why a professional realtor can help you very much, because that's what we do every day professionally. Marketing your house will become more and more important as those days on market rise. Then another big takeaway is that prices are diverging across the market. So you can't look at a national statistic. You've known that for a long time, that real estate is local, so a national number doesn't necessarily reflect here. A Tennessee number or a Georgia number doesn't reflect here. And what we're finding is even the MLS number here in Chattanooga has greatly divergent data points within the Chattanooga area. So East Brainerd had huge price growth. Chattanooga had solid price growth. Hickson and Ottawa both had some reduction in prices. And then the MLS overall basically stayed flat. So you would have looked at that and said, well, the Chattanooga market, nothing changed. Prices are the same. Well, as we looked at the data, you saw that different neighborhoods, different zip codes, different counties did have different results. And then another big takeaway. We have a more balanced market than we've had in years. It's not a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. It's just a normalized market. And this is a great place to be. It's really good for everyone involved when the market is balanced. Sellers and buyers can come to good agreement with each other, and people get to move. Now, interest rates have been coming down over the past 3 or 4 months, and we are seeing that they have kind of leveled into the low sixes, maybe 6 1/4, 6 1/8 sometimes. That's probably going to continue for a little while in the low sixes. I would think in 2026, we would see some more 6% and maybe below 6% rates, but it's not likely that they're going to go drastically lower anytime soon. Now, if you'd like to talk with me about these numbers and what they mean for your specific situation, as we saw, everybody's situation is different, not only by zip code, but even by neighborhood. Whether you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in 2026, I want to talk to you. You can give me a call or text at 423-315-1815. You can also visit my website at homechattanooga.com. That's at homechattanooga.com. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook or LinkedIn. That's where you'll find me as Blake Watson. And on Instagram, you'll find me as Rock and Roll Blake. My brokerage office phone is 888-893-3537. Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate. I'm Blake Watson, wishing you all the best in your real estate journey.